Hello again. It's obvious to us all that our political system in this country is not working to anybody's advantage other than that of a tiny elite. The question is, what are we going to do about it? The democratic process has clearly failed. We know this because local elections are due next week, and it's widely expected that reform would do tremendously well in areas such as Essex, which now has two Reform MPs in Basildon and Clacton. The solution was to cancel the elections there for the foreseeable future and also for a third of the people in the country. I am unable to express my disapproval of the current local councillors in Essex, and nobody can say when the next elections will be held. Democracy is no longer working and is liable to sudden cancellation at any time, especially if it looks as though people are about to make the wrong choice. We have a government whose most important positions are filled with people who are plainly unfit to hold high office. Rachel Reeves is a serial liar who filled her references. David Lammy has the IQ of a tapeworm. Not just any old tapeworm, mind, but a particularly slow-witted example of the breed, one who was perhaps dropped on its head as a baby. Yvette Cooper was given the job of Home Secretary because this role is reserved these days for a woman, and so it was felt that it didn't much matter which woman got the post. It is the optics which matter. The man running the whole show is probably the most dishonest politician in the country, somebody who will lie his head off and promise anything which he feels people might wish to hear, whether that's freezing council tax bills, cutting immigration, or reducing our gas bills. The present Parliament is the worst which I can remember over the last 50 or 60 years. Sometimes when matters reach this state, some determined and forceful character, usually with the army behind him, will simply march into Parliament and dismiss it, send it packing. One remembers with pleasure how in 1926 Marshal Józef Pilsudski led a military coup, seizing control of Poland by armed force. At the head of a column of soldiers, he marched into Parliament and announced to the startled deputies, "I shit on you all." A refreshingly honest opinion to be voiced in any Parliament. Precedent for such an action has been seen in this country 300 years earlier, when Oliver Cromwell, sick to death of the moral laxity and general corruption of the Parliament of the day, marched into the chamber on the 20th of April 1653 at the head of a troop of infantry, and threw out the MPs, telling them in no uncertain terms that they were useless. I have an idea that few people in modern Britain would be grieved to see the current Parliament dismissed in this fashion. They are incapable of running the nation effectively, and it seems to me that some strong leader ruling directly and without being bound up in all the pettifogging red tape which attends parliamentary processes might be able to get the country back on its feet again. In short, perhaps we need some latter-day Marshal Pilsudski or Oliver Cromwell to send Parliament packing and rule alone for a spell before calling fresh elections, with all the present members of Parliament being disqualified from ever standing again.